Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Michael's Corner. I am your host, Michael. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and share this with anyone who would be interested in this type of show. It really helps this channel out. Also, if you are looking for great gift items for this holiday season, please check out newimagestore.com for all of your holiday needs. We currently have some decent sales going on. Now, in today's episode, I will be talking about abortion, which has come back into the news lately. I realize that this is a sensitive subject for many, so I'll apologize in advance for anyone offended by what I'm going to discuss here. Okay? Now, I'm going to talk about the latest controversy and give all of you my take on it. Now, abortion has been a very hot topic for quite a while. The questions surrounding this issue keep ending up in court. Most recently, it has come to the news from Texas. Again, more on this in a moment. First, let me give you a little background. Let's start with Roe versus Wade, which, of course, most people who follow the legal profession and abortion in particular know this one well. Now, this was a legal case that was fought on January 22nd, 1973, in Texas. Now, in this court case, it was ruled on with a 7-2 decision that unduly restrictive state regulation of abortion was unconstitutional. As I said, strangely enough, it's back in Texas again. Now, this majority opinion, which was written by a Justice Harry A. Blackmun, stated that Texas statutes criminalizing abortion in most cases violated a woman's constitutional right of privacy as outlined in the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. I have talked about this before in other videos, so you should check them out. I'll leave some links up on the screen for you. But as a refresher, it is as follows. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or prosperity without due process of law. That's just a synopsis. Now, at this point, I'll paraphrase the findings of the Roe versus Wade case to refamiliarize you all. It stated that only a compelling state interest justifies regulations limiting fundamental rights such as privacy, and that legislators must draw statutes narrowly or specific. It stated also that it would openly apply only with legitimate state interests at stake. Now, the court also considered a state's interest in a woman's health and the potential life of the fetus. It determined that life starts after the first trimester and that the state would regulate it after that time. This translated into the first 24 weeks of pregnancy. After that, they considered it a human life. Now, over the years, many changes have come into play, which has narrowed it even more. And this occurred right after 1973. Final example before I go on to the main part of it was in a case with Planned Parenthood of Southwestern Pennsylvania versus Casey, fought in 2018. This case talked about abortion as unconstitutional if it put an unnecessary burden on a woman seeking an abortion before the fetus was viable. In this decision, they banned abortion after 15 weeks, down from the 24 weeks as said in the previous ruling. Now on to the Texas case. This one was put forth in May 2021. That's, of course, this year. Now, Texas adopted a law that effectively banned all abortions beyond the time when a fetal heartbeat can be heard, or about 6 weeks, a 6th week of pregnancy. Also, and this is the killer of it, it allows private citizens to file a civil lawsuit against anyone who performs an abortion. In these lawsuits, if the private citizen is successful, they are awarded $10,000 plus all the court fees associated with executing the lawsuit. Further, the defendant who loses the case must pay the $10,000. whether it's an individual or an organization or what have you. Now, if the defendant succeeded in defending themselves, they are not reimbursed for any of the costs. How's that for a switch, huh? This law was to take effect on September 1st, 2021. But 2 days before it happened, a group of abortion providers filed an emergency request with the Supreme Court asking it to block enforcement of the law. The court decided not to intervene, not block it, just not intervene. And they did this with a 5-4 decision. They stressed that they did kind of block it, but what they said when they did it and they threw down the ruling is that blocking the request did not mean that they approved or disapproved of its constitutionality. How about that? Kind of wishy-washy. Which way are they, right? Where it is now is interesting. Now, finally, the Department of Justice stepped in and decided to completely block the enforcement in a court case called United States versus Texas, and the case is being reviewed carefully at this time. Whether SB 8, which is the law, that's what Texas calls it, gets passed, it's going to be up in the air. Right now, it's up in the air. This is my review of the situation. Where do I stand would be the next question. My stand is pretty straightforward. I believe that abortion should be banned in all cases. Well, not all cases. Let me correct myself. Except in cases of dire danger to the life of the mother or in cases of incest or rape. I feel every life is precious no matter how developed or underdeveloped it is. But those are the exceptions, the only exceptions that I believe in. Now that's my soapbox for the day. See you guys all in the next section. Welcome to the questions and answers sections of this week's episode. I hope that my take on this very controversial subject was informative and interesting to all of you. There is much more that could be said about this subject, and if you want me to go into detail about any of what I discussed, let me know in the comments. For today, I do not have any questions from you guys, but I have a few questions for you, as I usually do. Now, the first one is, what do you think of my stand? Do you agree or disagree with what I said? Second of all, do you think the 14th Amendment applies here, as I have described in the last section? And finally, for today, do you feel that states should have the power to ban abortion altogether? I'll see all of you in a moment, for my final thoughts for this episode. Welcome back to my final thoughts. It seems that our 14th Amendment rights keep getting challenged. When our Constitution is constantly being scrutinized and people want to change the very foundations of our country and what makes it great in the first place, one wonders what our future holds. A lot of the issues I have covered lately indicate a drastic change in our country. And it is not looking good for our individual freedoms and rights. As I covered in the last episode, socialism in the U.S.A., is it already here? This change is already becoming painfully obvious. I pray that we will change course soon before we find ourselves in a new foreign country called the United States. Abortion is just one of the many issues that have Americans taking pause and wondering what the hell is going on. I do not wish to be an alarmist, and I don't want you all to think that I am. Okay, but I just bring this up because I want to provoke thoughts and comments from you guys. I am very worried about this country, however, and I do wonder what it will be like tomorrow, next month, next year, and so on. We need to change our way of thinking. and bring our country back to greatness. And we could start by getting back to what the Constitution was originally written for. Now, today, we did focus on abortion and the latest controversies relating to the subject. I discussed what Roe v. Wade is and how it has changed over the years. In these changes, this case, it's been stripping away all the everything that Roe v. Wade attempted to do. The case, it's basically almost nothing compared to what it was. Now, I focused on the latest controversy in Texas that is certain to be unconstitutional. We'll have to see how that plays out. The hardest pill to swallow is the fact that anyone, whether related to the woman seeking abortion or not, can file suit. This sounds like headhunting for money, if you ask me. This is exactly what I think that is. It's a good way for people to make a quick buck, and I think it's really because the states do not want to take the responsibility for this issue. They just don't. Whether this new law goes into effect or not is still open for debate. I hope it does not pass, but that is how I feel about it. Maybe not how you feel. So the question remains for now. Now, the next episode is going to be entitled Infrastructure, the Skeleton of America. I hope you will tune in next time to find out what this is all about. But that's it for now. Now, as usual, I want all of you to be safe, be careful, be open-minded, and I will see all of you in my next episode. And thanks for watching.